Welcome to the Business Leadership Series, where we engage with leaders who are making an impact on their worlds and who want to share their knowledge and experience for your personal and professional growth. The following interview is designed to inspire you to become the best leader you can be. Your host, Derek Champagne, is the founder and CEO of The Artist Evolution, a full-service agency building successful brands, marketing tools, and campaigns, and also the author of the best-selling book, Don't Buy a Duck. And now, let's begin today's Leadership Series interview.
Welcome to the Business Leadership Series, where our goal is to inspire you to become the best leader that you can be. We've got a treat today. We have Shark Tank veteran and founder of SandiLake Clothing, Mel Lay. Mel, welcome to the program.
Thanks for having me.
You've got a really cool story. I remember seeing you on Shark Tank a while back, and I promise we won't stay on Shark Tank the whole time. That's how we first heard about you and your unique story. So tell me a little bit about you're an amazing entrepreneur. You stumbled into it in some ways with where you're at now. Give me kind of the background on your company.
Yeah, so I have 2 kids. I was a stay-at-home mom, and I just wanted cooler clothes for my kids to wear. It's kind of hard to find. I have 2 girls, so it's hard to find clothes that aren't pink or sparkly or princess, themed. And for boys, it's kind of the same thing. There's lots of superhero blue. And so we just, a friend and myself just kind of had this idea, let's make a unisex, clothing company. And we had no idea where to start at all. But we figured screen printing might be the, easiest route to go. And so we YouTubed how to screen print, bought a screen printer, had no idea how to use it, figured it out pretty quickly. It's a fun trade to learn, and started designing. And from there, our clothing just kind of became popular. We feel really lucky, and started selling stuff. And that was 3 years ago.
Wow, it's been quite a journey for you in that 3 years.
It has.
So when you first started, yes, you wanted some clothing that was more unique and rad and modern for your kids and for others, but did you have a vision in mind to take it where it is today?
No, I love being a mom, but I kind of always felt like I could do something more while I was at home. And so that was really the basis around it, was to have cooler clothes for my kids and to just have something to do. I never imagined it would. In fact, I was actually scared. Our initial investment, we kind of figured out that it would take us over a year to pay it off if we sold, we kind of had a track going, and it was like, oh, we're never going to, pay ourselves off. And we did it. We did it in like 3 months. So at that point was when it was like, okay, this is a business. Let's, be serious about it. And so that's kind of when we knew we had something.
That's really cool. I usually like to ask that question. When did you know you were onto something? So that was the time at 3 months in.
Yes. 3 months in, we knew it was like, okay, take this seriously. It's not just a hobby.
That's so where do you find the space to put a screen printing?
Well, it started out just in my garage, and then slowly but surely every room in my house was SandiLake at some point. And even my dining room had my desk in it, and we tried to just keep our overhead low from day one. And so we basically just worked at a house, and I had my kids running around, every minute of it, which I love. And now I kind of have a nice separation of work and in home, but I didn't have that for, a couple years of this. So
well, I think a lot of entrepreneurs can relate to that.
For
starting
sure.
my marketing company, I would clock in at my own and go into my office and be in there all day. And people coming over at first are like, this is kind of weird. This is crazy. I'm like, this is what we do when we're bootstrapping something.
And leave me alone because I've got to work.
This is my actual job. Yeah.
Yeah.
So how did your family feel about you taking over the garage with that equipment and then taking over the house?
Well, my husband, we had actually just moved into our house only a few months prior, and my husband, always thought the garage would be like his place. And he had no room for anything. And I'm like the worst wife. Like I would use his tools for my ink, and he hated it. So when we moved out, he was so happy. Now he has like his man room back or whatever he wants to call it. But yeah, he's so supportive though. He's the one that kind of allowed me to put, our first initial investment on our credit card. Like we did not have extra money for this. And so, he just has always been supportive and let me follow my dreams.
Well, I read an article that you talked about where, he would come back and he has a corporate job, I guess, correct? Where he would give advice and you kind of went your own direction with the brand, and that later came back and said that was a good decision.
Yes. Yeah. He has helped me so much with big picture ideas, stuff that I would have needed to go to school to learn. And then, yeah, but it's funny. Certain things you kind of in your gut, like, oh, that maybe worked for you, but I think we should go a different route. And yeah, now he totally is like, oh, I'm so glad you did that instead of listen to me. And so it's kind of a cool success part of SandiLake was that we trusted the direction we were going from day one.
That's super cool. So tell me, so I know 3 months in is when you realize, okay, we're onto something. There's a demand. How was that demand spreading? Was it viral? Was it what was going on where you said where all these orders started coming in?
Yeah, so we started on Etsy, which is such a great platform,
right.
And they have, especially 3 years ago. Now it's very saturated, but
right.
3 years ago, it was a very unique algorithm. When people searched, our stuff would come up on every front search page, and so, and we actually had a product at that time that wasn't on Etsy very much, and so now there's just tons of T-shirts. So actually, less of our sale. We're still on Etsy, but our website's where we do the most, but. Yeah, I don't know. I think social media, we really worked hard on from day one to create a story with our product, even though all our story was stay at home moms printing ourselves basically. But after that 3 months of paying ourselves off, we were like, this is something. And then we had one shirt that first summer was really popular, our America tank top. And that was always kind of our staple, biggest seller, I think, because it was simple and monochrome and just different than normal kids' clothes out there, but it was still a good 4th of July patriotic shirt. And then we went into winter and had another kind of killer design that just really catapulted us. And mom blogs and, actually, honestly, mom blogs are kind of, and Pinterest are huge reasons why those shirts were popular. And then so almost a year after we started our company, Target kind of copied that America tank top. And so that was a huge catapulting point for us of going viral. And we got to go on the Today Show and Good Morning America and shows like that. And so,
but can we dig into that a little bit? I know you've told the story so many times, but when you say Target copied it, it's not that they called you and said, hey, we want to take this design and copy it. Tell me how it happened that you found out that your shirt was in Target.
So looking back, it's just a cool part of our story. But one of my friends was in Target, my best friend, in fact, in Seattle, Washington. She saw this design and was like, hey, Mel, did you sell your design to Target and you didn't tell me about it? That's crazy. And I was like, oh, man, no. You sure? Are you sure it's just like mine? So I went to the Target the next morning in my tank top, and it was literally right when they opened at 7. So no one else was in there except one other customer. I had her take a photo of me holding this other shirt, and it kind of ended up being the catapulting picture that went viral, which it's not the greatest shot, but it really showed how they are exactly the same. And turns out that the company that sold it to Target, one of their designers found it on Pinterest and, copied it, and they admitted to it. They actually offered me a job designing, and I was like, no, I don't want to work for you. Right. But we didn't have a copyright on it, which is always a lesson I like to tell people is, if you know that, something you're working on or have invented or designed, always make sure to protect that. And even if it's nothing, you never know. Someone might copy it.
So how far into the business were you when that happened?
I'm sorry, what was that?
How far into your business were you when the Target thing happened?
Yes, it happened almost exactly. It was a year after we had started. Yeah. And that craziness lasted us, 3 months of just nonstop making America shirts, which is why the shirt's my least favorite shirt ever now.
So it actually helped you though.
Oh, man, yeah. Well, the support from customers was just incredible. That one shirt sold all summer long. And, yeah, it was awesome.
That's incredible. So you went on these different shows. Was that pretty quickly after that happened?
Yeah. So kind of the week after it was actually within days that we posted that Instagram post. We kind of got calls from all sorts of news outlets, which is very overwhelming if you've never been,
Wow.
kind of interviewed in that way.
Right.
And so it happened really quickly, and we it died very quickly also, though. The minute Target took the shirts out of their stores, which they did not actually have to, so that kudos to them for doing that and making it right in whatever way they could. As soon as that happened, it dies really fast, and our sales kept going, and obviously the popularity of our company kept going, but it was kind of like, I don't know, viral news is a little different than one might think. It can go as quickly as it came. So
wow.
Yeah.
So a lesson is to copyright, and I own an agency here, and we'd have designers, and our lesson is to get inspiration, but not to copy.
Yes, exactly. And it's so easy to, designs are so simple these days, and our design was very simple. It was a flag, just a little bit changed. And so, it's kind of, be inspired, but don't do exactly. It's very easy to simply change things and stay within the realm of what's okay.
Right. Yeah. Make something your own. Make it unique.
Exactly.
So tell me now, what does the brand look like now? What's your footprint? Where are you selling? Just give me kind of a lay of things now.
Yeah, after we realized, after Target happened and, things kind of catapulted, we opened our own website, got more particular about, what our brand actually looks like. That was a huge change we did. We definitely are unisex, but we also have kind of a skate, outdoorsy feel to us. So that was a huge focus. And we also focused on adult clothes, bringing out kind of matching, mommy and me clothes. And we continue to make all the product ourselves. I think that's a really important concept about SandiLake is we actually carry blank shirts. We don't print on them until they're ordered. We have an in-house printer now. I used to do all the printing myself. Now I hired someone to do it, which is awesome. But
that's great.
So every shirt that's ordered is actually made, that day and then shipped out. And so we can keep our margins incredibly low, which is as a business owner and that someone new, that's so important. We were able to spend so much less. And so, we were able to offer all these different designs on different shirts, and it works out great for us.
That's
and
really
we're still
great.
Doing that today.
So are you e-commerce focused? Is that where you sell all of your product?
Yes. Okay. After we were on Shark Tank, we did open a storefront. And so we have that for people local to Portland can come in, which is so great because our customers love, kind of seeing and feeling our product. And it's great. You walk in and you can actually see where production is and watch your shirt being made, which is pretty cool.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. But yes, we are 99% online focused. So it's kind of easier that way. It's where trends are going, and I kind of like it.
Yeah, good for you. That's smart. So tell me, I'm telling you, we have people that are on the show that have gotten distribution and gotten in way over their head and gone where they shouldn't, and it's been quite a lesson that we've learned from that too. So tell me about what are some lessons that you learned along the way, maybe some things that were harder than you thought, things that you didn't expect, or any input for us where you had some flags somewhere where you said, wow, this was harder than I thought or bigger than I thought, and how did you overcome it?
Yeah, so there's a few things. I think, knowing where your company is headed is always a hard one to do, especially for me because I'm soft goods. Clothing is such a big industry, especially adult clothing. So it's why we've stayed with our niche of children. But one of the things that's hardest is, I buy clothing in bulk and then I print on it, and I have since the beginning, but I've always wanted to cut and sew my own pieces. Be an actual brand from beginning to end that is 100% unique in ours. And I started that process a long time ago. I had no idea it was such a long process and so hard to find a good factory that can make your products for a good price point, especially if you want to stick American made. So one of our kind of, I think, failures is trying to do, it's multiple things, but trying to bring in this new aspect and having no knowledge of it. And then, trying to have that be a successful part of our company and integrate it into what we already do. Right. And so, and we're still working on it right now. Honestly, we've had a couple factories that haven't worked out for us that we're totally bummed on. We were almost to completion and then having to switch things over. So I think it's kind of honestly always learning and having good connections with people. And so that's one. I think, the biggest lesson I've learned with SandiLake, though, beyond that, is the target lesson of copywriting your goods. I mean, I'm in design work is basically what we're around. And not having copyrights has hurt us in the past and has really helped us when people have tried to copy us since. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's great. That's good advice. And it's surprising, maybe not anymore, but how many companies don't protect their intellectual property, and especially for those that's their entire business. Mm-hmm. And so it's so important to do that, and it's not hard to do. Right?
I always thought it was really expensive, something that I would never be able to afford to do. It would just cost so much early on, and it's so cheap. Like I had no idea, and so it's just So we're happy we understand that part of business
great lesson.
now.
And for those who have not had an issue, it doesn't always turn out as positive as having a big company like Target, and then having the national news call you. So it's usually the opposite. It's usually a bigger competitor that can take it and run with it, and there's really not a whole lot you can do about it. So you want to make sure that you protect yourself. So tell me, how do you anticipate customer needs with all the designs that you can do? I guess you could go so many different directions. What do you guys do, and how do you stay in touch with what's important to the customer, or how do you stay true to the brand and anticipate what will be successful with the customers?
Yeah, SandiLake is inspired by my own kids. And so whenever we're designing new items or taking away old items or getting ready for spring or getting ready for Christmas, I always love to look at, okay, what would my kids wear? What do I want on them? What would I wear too? What can transcend, from adult to child? And I think just always going back to them keeps us focused. And now we have kind of a design team who we can, bounce everything off of. Before it was just me like, oh, what do I think is cool? And, luckily it was cool. And so I think, just staying focused on, the mission of, being outdoorsy and fun and unique and keeping unisex always kind of keeps us focused on that. So
yeah, that's great. Your customer and your kids are great. That's awesome. So tell me, give me a little bit of insight on Shark Tank, your experience there. I know it's such a huge, we've talked to several guests that have been on the show and heard so many different types of experiences, from crying to getting deals to in between and all the prep work. So, but just what was it like for you when you submitted and you got the call back and you started preparing? Can you just give us just a minute or two on your experience there?
Well, I applied online. They say like 30,000 people apply every month or something on Shark Tank. And I didn't know that till afterwards, but I just applied shot in the dark on, it's an email you send. And I didn't hear anything for exactly 6 months. And then I got a phone call randomly on my cell phone from this chick who was like, yeah, I'm so-and-so from ABC's Shark Tank. And I about dropped to the floor. But she kind of did my first interview right there on the phone, and she said, I'm moving on. And anyways, the process after that is, months long, basically. Right. And I passed every test along the way, thankfully, while running a business, which most people kind of forget that you're trying to get your business going if Shark Tank falls through. So you're doing both at the same time. It's very tasking. It's pretty crazy, all the paperwork and, all of that. And so in April was when I got that phone call, and we filmed in June, and then my episode didn't air till October. So it's just a kind of a grueling process. And I'm so glad we made it through, because we just had an awesome experience and learned a ton about our business. And it was a great time.
That's amazing. So had you watched the show before you went on it?
Yeah, they recommend you to watch as many episodes as you can to kind of learn what to do. The one thing I did not practice for was what happened to me, though, when Barbara said, answer me now or I'm out. And I didn't prepare for that. But I feel like every other scenario I had like a quick, okay, I know what I want to do, but that's what happened to me. And
yeah, yours was interesting because, you had potentially had two sharks in play.
Yeah. And what they didn't show either was Lori kind of tried to go back in and actually get Barbara to go in, but she was kind of stuck on the fact that I had listened to Lori and not taken her up on her deal. They're I think they have, big egos and
Sure.
they want to be chosen first. But for me, it wasn't choosing Barbara over Lori or Lori over Barbara. It was the deal she offered me was not, I didn't want to go in. So basically for viewers or listeners who haven't watched it, she offered me 40% of the company for $100,000 for 40%, but 20% of that she wanted to give to another Shark Tank company who's great. They're humongous. They've grown so much, but their style and just everything they're about is very different than us. And I couldn't get past that when she was offering me the deal, even though she was just saying, they'll help you with production. And I fully got that. But to give away part of your company to someone you've never even met or talk to, I couldn't imagine that. And so I said no.
And as you said, and we all say this about our companies at some point, it's your baby.
Yeah.
It's blood, sweat, and tears and time lost and sacrifice away from family and bringing family into it. And so there's so much more to it than that's hard to even describe if someone hasn't been through that experience. And especially early on in the business, if it's a different direction that you don't feel is right.
Oh, yeah. And you have to know your margins, because if you're giving away 40% of your company, I mean, are you going to be able to survive after that? Like, how long will you last? And you have to sell a certain amount to be able to make that happen. And so, I kind of knew I don't really want to go up to that point. And I'm glad we made our decision, though. I'm still confident in everything that happened. And I don't, have nightmares like wish I would have made this decision. It was a great experience.
That's great. I've got a friend of mine who I've done some work with who was on season 1 of Shark Tank.
Wow.
And did not get a deal. But he every 6 weeks it reruns on MSNBC and he's a ghostwriter and the phone rings off the hook, and that's been happening for years and years for him.
Oh man.
It's been the biggest driver for him. So what kind of did with the Shark Tank effect that they say where hits go to your website? What happened for you post Shark Tank that was kind of was it significant for you?
Yeah. So it's great having a product that can easily sell on a website.
Right.
And that you have a good price point too, I think, for viewers. It's not like we're at, $150 something. So yeah, we sold like crazy the first weekend that it aired, that new episode, and it stayed high for a very long time. And then you have a little drop, but it's incredible how, I experienced Target where we went viral and, we just kind of dropped back to normal because it was news once news is gone, but not with this. This kind of just elevates you to a level of, you were worth going on the show. You, right. And it does re-air and all of that. So yeah, it's just been incredible. Like we definitely didn't need a deal to kind of have the success from the show.
Yeah, that's so cool. So tell me a couple other questions for you. For you, what does success look like for you?
I don't think anyone's ever asked me that, but I think I've been able to hire employees, which I think to me has been so satisfying to give people jobs and help them. They're young, but they both live on their own and like they're making their life happen from SandiLake, which is so rewarding. So yeah. I think being able to hire more people is success. Also, some of the things we've been able to be involved in and help, like we're doing some work in Haiti and we're able to provide some living wage jobs to people, which has been an incredible, passion project. And I think we wouldn't have gotten that opportunity if we weren't successful. And so those things I think are what success means to me. Definitely over money. And SandiLake for us has always been, what have we made and what can we put back into the company? And it's definitely worked out for us really well. And it's how we'll continue to grow. And it's just fun. Like, I think I wouldn't consider myself successful if I wasn't having a good time doing all of this. And man, the people I've met and what I've learned along the way and just the joy of loving what you do is definitely success for me.
3 years. What a roller coaster it's been for you and for your family.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Absolutely amazing. So just a couple more questions and we'll let you go. Tell me, what are you most proud of through this journey?
Man, I am most proud of starting something from nothing. And being a successful clothing company is very, very rare. I am proud that we are even open. I think people start ideas, and normally print shops start, you have something you want to sell, a design, and it fails. So then you start a print shop and you start doing custom work for people. And we've been able to keep a print shop open that only does our own product for 3 years now. And
I'll tell you, we're in the agency business, and we work with a lot of different production companies for clients, and that is a rarity.
Yes. I'm proud of that. Yeah.
That's really cool. Hey, tell me, there's seasons in life, I understand, and this took it took a whole life of its own for you. We all, as entrepreneurs, have sacrifices sometimes and have trouble finding balance. How have you been able to achieve and find balance in your life between your family and your work and your hobbies? And how do you do that?
Before I had employees, when I was doing it all myself, I think my balance was not so great. That's why I knew I needed to hire employees. Right. But in the beginning, working from home made it a little easier. Honestly, I was always with my kids. They worked with me every day. And so I was still with them. And my husband and I, we're like best friends. And so he would help me make shirts, and he was a part of the company just as much as anybody else. And then just, you can't start a company and be successful without working hard every single day. You can't. I mean, you have to work all night sometimes. It will never work if you're not going to work hard. So I think my family just understood that, you have to put in the time, and I did. And now that I have employees, I can take, a weekend trip or whatever and feel okay about it and not want to, poke my eyes out when I come back. But, it's always a constant struggle, though. Like right now, we have just so much going on, and interviews here and this and that there, and it's a constant reminder. Okay, like we need a weekend home, and right. So I don't know. It's just constantly trying to balance your life. It's never going to end.
So about your hobbies, I read somewhere where you were you wakeboarding the day your child was due, something like that? I ran around the office and said, we've got to interview this entrepreneur. This is pretty cool.
Yeah, my husband, the company he works for is actually a wakeboarding company, and so we go out on boats all the time, and I wake surfed with 9 months pregnant on my due date, and she came out like a couple hours later.
That's
but
awesome.
I don't recommend that for people. We do it all the time, so I was pretty confident. But it was a good one for the old photo album, that's for sure.
That's awesome. Any other entrepreneurial advice you want to share with us today?
I think the biggest thing I like to share with people is make sure if you want to start a business and you want to, start something new, which a lot of people are these days. It's awesome what we can all do. Just make sure you love what you do. I think success comes if you're actually passionate about, the business you want to start or the products you want to create. And then, like I said before, just work harder than you ever have in your life, and don't give up, and make sure you surround yourself with people who believe in you, because it's important for sure.
Mel, thank you so much for being our guest. I want to invite our listeners to go check out your product line, your clothing line, SandiLakeClothing.com. That's SANDI LakeClothing.com. Thank you so much again, Mel. We look forward to seeing the other great things you're doing, and you're a great example of entrepreneurialism, the great American dream, and then having balance as well, and doing what you love. And that's something that a lot of our listeners aspire to. So.
Thank you so much for having me.
You've been listening to the Business Leadership Series, where we engage with leaders who are making an impact on their worlds and who want to share their knowledge and experience for your personal and professional growth. This interview was designed to inspire you to become the best leader you can be.